year, and as they were divided between those who had taken the money on offer and those who were gambling they could get more, he felt he could convince the public that the EERC pilots were just being greedy. The public would be angry with them, not with him or his airline. Admittedly, O'Leary had previously misjudged the strength of his collective opposition. That uncharacteristic miscalculation had led to the cancellations and the extraordinary concession of trade union recognition in late 2017, something he had sworn would never happen in any circumstances. To the onlooker, it seemed all of these blows must have dented O'Leary's reputation and Ryanair's recent efforts to improve its brand image. To O'Leary, it was just another wave to ride out. He disdains conventional thinking, believing that it is too often emotional instead of rational. His way of looking at things is different from most people's. He never bows to the wisdom of crowds or the demands of the mob or the media. The record shows that he is almost always right. This has given him enormous self-confidence, which his enemies see as arrogance. Yet he has enough self-awareness to realize that what he has always done is not what always should be done, and that there are times when he has to shift course. He doesn't care if he is criticized for changing his mind or his actions. Regarding that is irrelevant. He shifts with the shape of the airline industry's paradigm. As a result, O'Leary remained confident that his vision for Ryanair would be realized. His was an airline that had flown about 130 million passengers across the continent in the 12 months to the end of March 2018, in spite of the very well-publicized problems during that period. He knew he would report profits of just over €1.3 billion for the year. He was running over 2,000 daily flights from 86 bases across 33 countries, connecting over 200 individual destinations, and those numbers were growing. Ryanair had a fleet of 430 Boeing 737 aircraft in use, and a further 240 on order to buy. O'Leary's ambition was to lift the number of annual customers to 200 million by 2024, and to raise his profits in line with that. This was a company worth over €18 billion. He spoke of its becoming the world's largest airline, and he meant it. He certainly wasn't going to turn his back on all of that just because a bunch of pilots didn't like him. He remained relentless. Even if he was turning 57 in March 2018, his consistent success in an industry where major losses and airline closures are common was put down to his obstinate obsessiveness in keeping costs at the lowest level possible, lower than those of all his competitors. Investors and industry operators knew him as the young man who had saved the airline from extinction in the late 1980s and then grown it year on year into Europe's biggest and most profitable short-haul carrier. It was all in the numbers, as the accountant in O'Leary knew. O'Leary didn't see insoluble problems, just wrinkles to be ironed out. Yet others, both inside and outside Ryanair, felt that a cloud hovered over him. Nobody in business lasts forever. There were whispers that he might be losing his touch, even if they were uttered quietly and without much conviction. It wasn't that he was going soft, even if he was trying to pretend that he was nicer than his reputation. But the events of the previous 6 months meant he had to prove that his attention and ambition weren't wavering. Questions were being asked. Was Ryanair struggling with its size, having grown so fast? How would it cope with the further route growth required by the large number of aircraft on order? Would O'Leary's emotional intelligence allow him to deal with the modern necessity for more understanding relationships with his staff? Did he have the right management in place to support him? Had the rebellious O'Leary become part of the establishment himself, so that his attacks on it appeared hypocritical? Had he become so predictable as to be boring, or was he best ignored? Suddenly, people were talking about Ryanair without O'Leary. It may have been wishful thinking on the part of those who wanted to see him go away,